What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome back to another Real Talk with MGD podcast. It's been a couple weeks. We took last week off, not on purpose, just had a little bit of a mishap and really just couldn't deal with everything that was going on. So I decided to take the evening off. So the discussion that we were going to have last week, we're going to move over to this week, and we're going to be talking about the dangers of cancel culture as well as blind belief and how they tend to be a little bit tied together. We're also going to be talking about some big changes in YouTube, as well as some other trending news that is happening. If we have enough time for it, let's set ourselves up with just a little background ambient music for those that are in the chat room. So because it's a little quiet. It's a little quiet for me, and I'm not used to. I'm used to the morning show where we have a lot of randomness. So going into a more of a serious discussion always feels a little random and a little weird. So at least for now, we can get maybe some background music going. At least for my head. But anyways, I wanted to talk about cancel culture. So it's something that we notice. It's been happening a lot. If you paid any attention to the internet, social media within the last decade, cancel culture has been around for a while. And it really, we started to really see the rise of it, about maybe like 2008, 2009, 2010, somewhere around then, right at the height of like the Me Too movement. It really started to kind of build momentum around then, started taking form. And the Me Too movement was really kind of intended to kind of hold abusers responsible for their actions and misdeeds. And for those that are unaware of what cancel culture is, if you're living under a rock, it's basically a combination of group shaming and the withdrawal of support by the general public against a person or entity. However, I think over the past 10 years, we've seen it kind of progress. Now we've seen it used against like Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, countless others that fell prey to the cancel culture, and rightfully so, of course. I mean, these people were prime examples of people that truly should have been canceled. Harvey Weinstein, taking advantage and sexually harassing what was like upwards of it was like dozens, and my numbers might be off. Dozens of women in the movie industry. R. Kelly, underage. We all know, if you don't know the stories of R. Kelly, just he is now going to prison for that. Bill Cosby got out of prison on a technicality, but that man is canceled. Like, I don't think he's old as hell at this point, but I don't think he can work in show business ever again. Like, not a single person is ever going to watch any of his shows. Like, he's completely gone. Now, the premise of cancel culture is really to be intentional and necessary, to call out those that are abusing their power to hurt and abuse others, while simultaneously showing support for victims of abuse and inequalities, whether it's money in whatever form that may be. But the real question comes is when does cancel culture become a problem all of its own? And when does cancel culture go a little too far? And what is the current goal of cancel culture? Because cancel culture 10 years ago is much different than what is happening now. It seems to be more of a trend to take part in cancel culture, regardless of whether or not the recipient is even guilty or even worthy of being canceled. This whole cancel culture is masked by this idea of being woke, and woke culture is another whole entire conversation in and of itself. This whole woke culture is probably one of the worst trends in 2021 right now. Being woke is not a cool thing. Basically, being woke, what this means is you eliminate any sort of communication, and it creates an I am right, you are wrong, and it's punishable by being canceled mentality. That's what being woke is in 2021. And if you follow woke culture, you probably need to actually wake the fuck up, because woke culture is absolutely a joke. I don't subscribe to this whole woke culture. And this in 2021, it's about who's the most offended. Are you offended? If you're not offended, then you're not paying attention apparently, and you should be offended, and you should be acting on that. You should be canceling these businesses. You should be canceling that 14-year-old on TikTok and sending her death threats, because that's typically what happens now in this day and age when if you're subscribing to this whole cancel culture thing. On top of that, you got businesses that are certainly going to be profiting off this level of hate. Like, do we think that there's no profit in this sort of hatred and this cancel culture mentality? Are we really that naive to think that companies are not manipulating and using social media to sway our opinions on politics? Companies, people that pose a threat to their bottom line? Yeah, of course they are. I mean, if anyone that's been around watching the news, you know what I'm talking about. I don't really watch a whole lot of the news, but companies are no different. But, you know, I think one of the worst things is cancel culture. This whole mentality has led to many, they follow on board these trends without questioning them first. I'm looking around like there's someone over here. I just see myself on the screen. It's weird because I have it up just in case something were to happen. They follow aboard these trends without questioning the legitimacy of them first. They watch a 60-second video. I mean, I know TikTok's now, 3 minutes, but 15, 30, 60-second snippet of a video that is edited to paint some sort of picture of whatever and whomever is posting and trying to paint. And those who are viewing the content are often making assumptions without knowing all the facts. The problem with the cancel culture mentality is it's become a form of bullying. Cancel culture leaves little to no room for compassion, for growth, for understanding. It doesn't allow you the opportunity to ask questions and start conversations, to maybe learn other people's opinions, or maybe even to sway other people into thinking differently. Instead, it's about the death threats. Anyone, if you disagree with them, they get death threats, or they're doxxed now. Their personal information and their personal safety is put into jeopardy because you disagree with the way that they do something. They offended you in some way. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be canceling people that deserve to be canceled. I'm talking about people that are legitimate harm to society and other individuals. Those that sexually harass, sexually, assault, domestic violence. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that too, because again, there's another side to this whole cancel culture thing that I think is important. But the death threats, the doxing, the physical assaults, the family shaming, all of this that stems from cancel culture, it's often done with little to no evidence. And in many situations, there should have been more room for dialogue, more room for understanding and talking. We live in a society now where it's my way or it's wrong. And that is one of the worst ways to think. You won't learn, you won't grow, you won't understand a goddamn thing if you live your life thinking that your way is the only way and everyone else is wrong. And if they don't follow your way of thinking, then cancel them. We're getting to a precipice where there's not going to be much more forward thinking. It's just get rid of the naysayers and that's it. And that's going to be a burden on everyone in the long run. Like you have to be willing to listen to other people's opinions. You have to be accepting. You don't have to accept you don't have to believe in what they do, but you have to at least be willing to accept that other people don't think the way that you do, and it's perfectly okay. There's a time and a place for cancel culture to take its place, and then there's a time not. And an example that here's where cancel culture can really be harmful to other people, and this is going to get a little bit, because we've had this conversation on the day show that we do. But I was scrolling through Twitter one day, and there was a trending thing. So, some person in K-pop world was accused of sexual assault, which it happens. I think those kinds of headlines are more often than not pretty common, surprisingly, which is another argument for later down the road. But the problem that I had with the article, the problem I had with what I was reading, was that there were people that were like, we would like to see evidence, and again, we would there this is a very, very sensitive subject that has a lot of things that need to be kind of openly discussed and explained a little bit more. It is not an easy cut and dry, you do it this way and it's the right way. But the problem that I was reading is people were asking for evidence. And the people that were asking for evidence of such the said sexual assault were being chastised and ridiculed and made and told that you should just believe this person when they say they were sexually assaulted. And I 100% disagreed with it. Now, while the majority of sexual assault cases are illegitimate, let's be real, only about 5 to 10% of sexual assault accusations are actually false. Let's keep those statistics in mind. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that all sexual assault cases are true. Getting into this, everyone is guilty before being proved innocent is the wrong way. And anyone that challenged this idea of we would at least, before we cancel this entire person's career, let's at least make sure that this is legitimate first. But that was being argued against. No, you should just 100% believe them. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to someone and again, before we move any further with the conversation, if someone is going to make an accusation against you or anyone else in regards to sexual assault, or if you hear someone that's claiming that there was a sexual assault, I'm not saying not believe them. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is you need to listen and you need to get information. You cannot just instantly lean one way or another based on little to no information. Listen to their story. Listen to what they say. Take it seriously. But it doesn't mean to instantly cancel someone, because of that, there are still instances where cancel culture has went after the wrong person, went after the wrong type of person, or we found out later that a sexual assault case was dropped because the rumors were wrong. I don't know the full story of this, but I was just, again, I read all the time, but I was reading an article where a man had spent 25 years in prison, just got released because the evidence came to light that it wasn't him. And the woman, I'm not saying it was entirely her fault, because at the same part, she was sexually assaulted. There's still someone out there that's sexually assaulted that got away from it, made money, wrote books, made a life off of this man in prison, and this man's coming out falsely in prison based on an accusation. It does happen. Women are just as at fault are just as culpable of making false accusations as anyone else. So you have to be willing to not take things at face value. You have to be willing to do your own research, no matter what, whether it's sexual assault, religion, politics, it doesn't matter. Be willing to ask questions. Have a little bit of skepticism of what people say and do. Information is so freely shared nowadays. Information is flowing all over the internet, social media, and some of that information is incorrect. That if you take everything you read at face value, you're going to be one dumb son of a bitch. Some of the information that you know will be true. Some of the information you know will be 100% false. If you are unwilling to fact check everything you learn, everything you see and hear, you're going to be one dumb son of a bitch, because you won't know anything. Just listen. There are people that are legitimately creating false information online just for the sake of giving you false information. So it's there are people doing this on purpose. So you cannot just go into something with blind belief. I'm very open. I don't really talk about it much on the morning show or anywhere else, but I'm not a religious person. I don't care if you are. That's up to you. That's your choice. You can choose to believe in a higher power or God or whatever it is, and if you're religious, that's fine. I don't. Mostly because I spent a lot of time asking questions that didn't make sense to me, questions that the answers that I got back were not good enough to validate my belief in a higher power. Now, that's not me saying it definitely doesn't exist. There's no God, there's no heaven, there's no hell, none of that. I don't know. And that's the other thing that you need to understand. It is okay not to know things. I don't know what happens after we die. I don't. I'll find out when I do, or I won't. Either way, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the idea that I don't know. Some people are not, but I'm okay with the fact that I don't know what happens. What I'm not okay with is not knowing certain things in the now. I'm not going to take the let me amend that a little bit. Let me reiterate what I'm saying there. I am not okay fabricating something because I don't know something. I'm not trying to just place something in place of something else because I don't know the answer. I would rather just say I don't know than be like, well, I don't know, therefore this must be true. Because that's both illogical and it's just illogical. I don't know what the other one I was going to say, some sort of fallacy, but that's the same thing, really. It's illogical. It's illogical to think that way, but a lot of people do that. Blind belief is just as dangerous as the cancel culture that we're putting out there. And if we don't start asking more questions, trying to get answers, at some point, we're just gonna be so dumbed down. I know that people call other people sheeple, and they're just blinded by what they see, and I think all sides are, to a degree. If you're not paying attention, you can look at all sides. All sides are, to a degree, blinded by what's going on around them. I'm going to include myself in that statement as well. We don't know everything. What I do know is this whole cancel culture mentality is one of the worst trends to come out of it. I mean, it really started to take a bigger stride with the whole pandemic thing. Once people were at home, once they were in front of their computers, once they got separated and realized that, listen, I can work from home. If they fire me, so what? They don't really care half the time anymore. But people are just getting worse. And this cancel culture trend, I don't know how we end it. I don't know how we just say, listen, how do you cancel a cancel culture? Isn't that kind of like the same? Like, how do you cancel culture? Is it possible? Or is it too far gone that we just have to kind of ride the wave and allow it to kind of collapse in on itself? Do we just allow, just sit back and just let it go, let it happen? Don't even know anymore. I mean, who was the most recent person was Dave Chappelle. I mean, cancel culture has gotten so bad. I'm gonna take a drink here. That comedians are afraid of losing their job because they can't do what they do most, is poke fun at the realities of what's happening around them. They can't talk about, what if you get offended. That's where cancel culture is kind of moving itself. It's not about doing what's right. It's not about defending those that have been abused or victimized in some way, shape, or form, or, trying to right some inequalities. It's really become more, if you offend me, you're going down. If you offend me, you're going down. And comedians are feeling that backlash. Dave Chappelle made a comment about trans. It was a trans joke or something like that, and instantly canceled for it. Still in the news. Still in the news about it. Still in the news. And it was not just Dave Chappelle. It's other comedians. Like, there's certain things where you can't say. They can't really joke about things because one person takes offense to it, can start an uprising, and just their entire career is over. We think we have to do the same thing in content creation. We can't say certain things. If you do, you run the risk of being canceled. It's just the nature of things. We gotta overcome it. That's the main thing. I don't know what the solution is. But it's something that I feel like we need to address more and more to teach the younger generations to be more open to conversation, understanding, growth, being willing to start a dialogue with someone that maybe did say something offensive. But if we don't allow people the opportunity to grow and learn, they're never going to. The worst thing you can do is cancel someone for something that they could learn from, something that's trivial and doesn't. Listen, you got a 14-year-old that's online on TikTok using the N-word, getting death threats because she said something that she shouldn't have. Now, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that, we should just give her a pass. I'm saying we should open the dialogue, talk with her, like, explain, you can't really talk about like this. You can't really say these things. It can be deemed offensive. Allow the person the opportunity to grow and move on, and maybe learn from the situation as opposed to just completely capsizing any potential for a future for them. Like, oh, you're the person that said the N-word. That person can't really do. I mean, years later, depending on the offense, might not be able to do anything. And again, this is for those instances where, it doesn't matter. It's not as much of an offense. I'm not talking about if rape allegations. Those are really, really serious things, or child pornography. We see that a lot online. People that are getting outed for trying to meet up with underage boys or girls. 100% deserve everything, because now they are a danger to people that are helpless. That's where cancel culture. I'm 100% on board with that. But there's a majority of the time, and you can look through social media and you can see many, many examples of this, where it's not necessary. It's not necessary to go to that length. Start dialogue, open up conversation. If they're an asshole, doesn't mean, all right, well, we tried, let's go, pitchforks and take them down. People are unwilling to learn. That was where we're getting with that. Wifey brought a good point, saying other side of the coin is, what happens when they're unwilling to learn? Is that still worthy of canceling someone? If someone is unwilling to learn and their biggest offense is using an N-word in their video, is that really an offense to cancel someone? Like, we gotta look at the entire picture. Yes, we might be offended by that. Being offended does not equate to canceling. Just because you're offended doesn't mean that someone's lives or job deserves, because everyone can be offended by anything. People are offended by fart jokes. How dare you make a fart joke? That's offensive. Settle down, Karen. It's just a joke. Now, while we will laugh at that, the person that's offended probably won't. Now, I get, like, the use of the N-word. It's not so. It's deemed racist to to the majority of people. Well, it's maybe not so much for others. I still don't see the reason to cancel them because we're offended by something. We've heard the word our entire life. I'm not condoning the use of the word, but I don't see canceling someone. The best thing you can do in these situations is you don't follow them. You don't give them what it is that's allowing. Don't give them the clout. Everything now is views. Everything is views, likes, and shares and comments. They want if you're not interacting on something, they're not going to get the exposure. By canceling, you're by default also giving exposure to that person in one way, shape, or form. I realize this is a challenging concept, where we don't want to walk away from certain things. Sometimes you want to fight the fight. Sometimes you want to get in there and be like, listen, I want to teach you something. You need to learn. You need to shut up and listen. But not everyone's going to be willing to. But I feel at least you need to give the person the opportunity to. Give someone the opportunity to learn and grow. Because I can tell you right now, the shit I did when I was 15 to 20 years old, I wouldn't do today. It was some dumb shit I did. We learn through our mistakes. We don't grow unless we're met with opposition in some way. But if we're not willing to give people that opportunity, they'll never grow. This is why it's why it's easier for people to just resort to doing dumb shit. It's easier to get views and likes and stuff on doing dumb things and fake reactions than it is to actually create something meaningful. Because people don't want to necessarily put their all into something without risking, losing it. I mean, when we're talking about the dangers of cancel culture and blind belief too. We talked a little bit about the blind belief thing. I was dumb as shit as a kid. Social media was around. Not as so much as a kid. We had Yahoo Messenger, AIM. We had chat rooms, but it was a little more anonymous than it is today. Today, it's not as anonymous as it used to be. Before, you didn't really know who you're talking to. I mean, today you have that opportunity too, but with Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, Instagram, pretty much your life is out there for everyone to see. Maybe not all of it, but for the majority of it, people really know and see what's going on with your life, what you allow them to see. That wasn't the case, 30 years ago? It sounds so horrible to say that. 30 years ago. That didn't happen 30 years ago. We barely had MySpace 30 years ago. I think MySpace didn't come out till about 20 years ago. So, but we had our stupidity as kids, and there's a lot more dangers, a lot more things happening, but so, but yeah, sorry. A lot of people didn't really like it, but one of the discussions I wanted to have about blind belief is, it's easy to believe something that you want to believe in. A good prime example, and a lot of people didn't really care for the movie, but I thought it was good. I wouldn't say it's their best, but the Marvel's movie Eternals is a really good example of blind belief. And for those that, I'm not going to try to spoil the show for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, but the heroes of the movie believe one thing for the majority of the movie. And they feel like what they're doing was the right way and the only way. And they find out later on that that's not the case, that there's another agenda that's happening. And, you know, they have to deal with this new truth that comes to light because they've been blindly following this idea that, you know, their mission is to do this. And when it's revealed that it's not the case, there's a lot of internal conflict and turmoil that goes with that. There's, just like anything else, if you believe things just openly without question, sometime down the road, you're going to get hit. Something's going to come from it. So, but in other news, so there's something I'm trying to do with the evening shows. I'm not trying to have an hour-long discussion about one topic, but maybe a couple different topics. So I'm gonna try to break it down and maybe have like little sections that we can put into the podcast. Maybe like morsels of podcasts. A 25-minute video or audio segment would be great, as opposed to, you know, an hour-long section. I'm gonna go with that's another bot chat room with their random nonsense. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. I'm still trying to figure out how to properly moderate on YouTube. It's still so new to me. So if you haven't been paying attention, YouTube is making some big strides. I know that we're streaming on YouTube on Wednesday nights, and maybe, just maybe sometime in 2022, we'll add a couple more streams to the evening schedule. I don't know yet. It's still in the works. It's still in the process of thinking about things. But YouTube is making some big moves. And if you haven't been paying attention, Ludwig just started, I think just this past week. Ludwig, Twitch's golden boy, by the way. Twitch's golden boy. The most subs ever. Committed to over a month of a subathon on Twitch. Decided to turn down Twitch's contract and moved over to YouTube. I keep hitting my head on this damn thing. It's a huge deal. It's probably a bigger deal than Courage, Tim the Tatman, Valkyrie, Pokimane, all of them moving over. Which don't get me wrong, those are all big deals. But Twitch losing Ludwig is huge. Now, Twitch is picking up some others. I think Disguised Toast is moving over to Twitch. But the fact that YouTube is going after some of their biggest streamers is going to be changing. And I think it's really important for any content creators out there. We really need to be paying attention to YouTube. I'm not saying switch over. That's not what I'm saying. Listen, for you squirrels out there that heard me say that and go, well, that means I mean to go to YouTube. No, it does not yet. Settle down, slow your roll. I'm saying pay attention. I'm saying keep a close eye on what's happening. Be smart about your decision making. Not impulsive, be smart. And I know you can tell yourself and convince yourself you've been thinking about this for months. I've been thinking about making a switch. I'm saying be a little bit slower. Not necessarily, I don't want to say too slow, but be a little bit more conscientious about the decisions that you make. I'm not saying that moving to YouTube is the best move. I'm saying that YouTube is making big moves, which means that maybe 6 months to a year from now, YouTube might be the number one platform for you to be on. Because there's still a lot of things that YouTube doesn't have that Twitch has. Twitch is still the number one streaming platform. On top of that, we know that Twitch probably has the worst discoverability. It does have the worst discoverability of any platform. But it doesn't stop people from streaming there. It doesn't. People still stream there because they can actually do something with it if they put the time and the effort into there. I realize that there's a lot of people struggling Twitch, these big moves by YouTube is going to either force Twitch to make some big changes, which I'm really, really hoping to see. This is why I'm saying don't make any decisions yet. Unless you've already, if you're moving and you've already decided that, that's good on you. Do your thing. But for those of you hearing this now, they're like, I need to move to YouTube. I'm saying be patient. Because competition is going to spark growth, evolution. If Twitch is going to start being met with some actual competition, and Facebook is making their moves too. I just feel like I really dislike Facebook as a platform altogether. Everything about it. I hate everything about Facebook. I don't even log into Facebook at all. I once in a while I'll pop in there and I just pop right back out. And I still see, I'm not saying that there's not any issues with Twitch or YouTube, because trust me, there are pros and cons to every single platform that you move over to, but I see nothing but issues all the time. People complaining all the time about Facebooks. People getting banned in chats for saying hello. Like, whatever's happening over on Facebook, it is a mess right now. So I talked with some people recently that just decided to finally up and leave Facebook, moved over to Twitch. I wanted to say I maybe look at YouTube too, but I didn't want to get in that conversation because I think YouTube is still a little behind. But they got some big people in their corner now. And with that, there's going to probably be some bigger changes coming. I know, like, Harris Heller is moving over. He's not moving over. He moved over. Ludwig. You got Tim the Tatman. Doc, they're already on there, but they're more their games. We're looking at the reason why is Ludwig being over such a big thing? Because Ludwig's not a gamer. I mean, he plays some games, but he's one of the first people that does more than just chatting to move over to a different platform. And they're all pretty much doing the same thing, which is they all want to create better content. They want to create more content, and that's where YouTube can help them. So these big moves over there, while being less tied down, this is something that us as these mid-level to lower level streamers, we're not tied down to contracts. We're not being forced to stream so many hours a day, so many hours a month to fulfill our obligation as a contract. Could you imagine being like, listen, you have to stream, I don't know how many hours a month, 160 hours, which is it's a lot of hours. I don't know what their contract state. You're obligated to do that, or you can get dinged, or you can lose your pay. That's a whole different game. Whereas YouTube is like offering them, not having to do all that for a lot of the content creators. Well, of course, that's where they make their money, so they're certainly going to stream, but a lot of them are streaming less and creating more different content, which is, I think, one of the big reasons why I wanted to move this over. Sure, we're streaming this, but it allows me I don't have to do any editing. I can just download the audio from this and I put it up into a podcast. And as we're talking about the different things, we can talk. This in itself is a segment all of its own. We can have the blind faith thing that we talked about in the first half hour, be its own segment. That's an episode. Could be, if that's how I want to do. This one talking about the big moves on YouTube could be another episode. The problem is trying to find some sort of balance between what it is that we actually want to talk about. Again, it's things that I want to be. The whole purpose of the Real Talks is really kind of getting down to what matters. And there's a lot of content creators that I know in this space that are struggling, trying to figure out their path, what they want to do with things. And we're still relatively new. We are very, very new. I just realized, by the way, which I didn't put there. I realized my ADD is going out off the wall. I did not put the hashtag Me Too, by the way. At the top of the thing, you put hashtag Me Too. That is, I didn't put that up there. I mean, I guess it scraped it from my description because I did that on purpose, but I was like, I don't remember putting the hashtag up there for that in the description of the episode 4 thing, but apparently it's there. So, yeah, We got that. I didn't mean for that to go up there. But if you're looking to create content, YouTube is making some big pushes, which is going to make Twitch either make some big changes or Twitch is going to go under. When I say go under, they're going to lose a lot of their streamer base. And I know that this argument's been made by other creators and things like that. The reason that YouTube is so desirable as a platform, and especially if they can start implementing a lot of the things that that Twitch is doing, is that it is more than just a streaming platform. Twitch, that's it. If you're on Twitch, it's all it is. It's streaming, which is it's a good thing in some aspects, but it's also not in others. If you want to get to a point where you want to expand, you want to do more than just stream, you can't do that on Twitch. You're pigeonholed to streaming on that platform, which is why other people look to YouTube. They go to TikTok, they go to Instagram to kind of create a different outlet, to do something different. So keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open for that YouTube, because YouTube's making some big changes. That's why we came over. Try something different. Try a different path. See how it takes us. But I got something else that I want to discuss. I'm hoping it's not going to be the entire time. Something near and dear to a buddy of mine's heart. So Island Boys craze. I don't get it. What is with our fascination with absolute stupidity? I will never understand it. Like, it is so cringe, but people are drawn to it. We will 100% throw money at stupidity. And it only validates them to continue to do it. The whole Island Boys thing, I hate it. I hate it so much. And my buddy, he knows that. That's why he sends me the videos all the time. Because it's so cringy. But what is our fascination with this? What is our fascination with just brain dead content? I mean, it didn't originate with the Island Boys. I look at the Kardashians. We also got Jersey Shore. There's so many prime examples of things where we allowed and we cultivated this dumb culture and threw money at it, and these people have made a living off of stupidity, off of cringiness, and gotta give credit where credit's due. The Island Boys are taking it like a champ, because I don't see anyone going, I fucking love the Island Boys. No, they're like, yeah, he sends them to all of us, Wifey. He 100% sends those videos to every single one of us because he knows it drives us nuts. Captain is our resident troll. He likes to send us the worst possible videos that he knows will drive us crazy. But absolutely, he sends them to me too. I just don't understand how they got so popular. I mean, is it because they stand out? They stand out from the crowd, which, don't get me wrong, they do. They got chicken scratch tattoos all over their body. Not even good tattoos. They're freaking horrible tattoos. And their hair is just, I don't get it. I don't understand it. It baffles me to death. It baffles me that they have performed live in front of people. They have made tons of money. We could be stupid too. I try and choose not to. Sure, we do stupid things on our morning show, afternoon show now. But for the most part, I believe, I'm gonna try to say this in a way that doesn't sound. I feel like if you have a platform, doesn't matter how big or how small, that platform should be used for good, not exploitation, because some people confuse that. They will use their platform to exploit, which can be confused with doing good. But I mean, if you have a platform, you should be doing something with that platform that is good. I don't see how people that we glorify stupidity and acting stupid and just glorifying cringe. We'll just say cringe in general. What good is that doing? I'm not saying to cancel them either, because that goes against everything that we just originally talked about. I'm just saying I don't understand it. Captain loves them though. So if you have Island Boys merch, we're gonna get him a t-shirt for Christmas, or like a sweater for Christmas that says Island Boys, I'm an Island Boy, and send it over to Captain, who's my buddy, and make sure that he gets that. He'll wear it every single day. He'll probably never take it off. To be fair, he'll probably never take it off. He'll never take it off. Now, before we head off for the evening, there's another small topic that I keep getting a mustache here in my mouth. There's another. I'm gonna call it a trend. It's a pattern. The pattern I notice. I tend to watch a lot of things. I tend to watch to scroll through social media, and I tend to pick apart things that I see and notice trends and patterns as much as I possibly can. And there's one thing I notice a lot, especially in the content creation industry and just in general. And reading articles and things like that, they talk about this growing mental health aspect of things. That the younger generation is going to be one of the highest rates of mental health disorders of anyone. And that's partly our fault too. I'm going to say this because we glorify it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having mental health issues, with having anxiety and things like that, but we allow it to be a crutch in our lives. Right now, it is cool, which sounds so fucked up to say. But let's scroll through TikTok. Scroll through TikTok. It is cool now. It's cool to have a disorder, to be autistic, to have Tourette's, to be neurodivergent, which is a huge thing, which is another form of autism, anxiety, depression. We have glorified all these mental health issues that kids now think it's cool to have them. When in reality, most people don't want them. People that suffer from depression, people that suffer from anxiety disorders or Tourette's, have autism, some things that they can't control, they don't want them. But it's all being glorified. Everything is being glorified through social media. We live in a really, really weird time. I'm baffled every day with what I see. And for those of you that watched this morning, you saw me skipping over videos. I'm like, I can't take it. Because we live in this weird ass fake bubble of a society where no one's genuine. And it sucks. Like, there's no one being genuine anymore. I'm not saying that no one is it's harsh, because there certainly are. There are definitely some genuine people out there. And most of the time we gravitate towards them. We connect with them. We like hanging out with them and talking with them because they're the people that we connect with. But there's a lot of people that just aren't being genuine. It's just about the like button. How many times do you push that like button? Or can you donate money to me? That kind of thing. And this glorifying of mental health disorders is rough. And there's people now that allow things like anxiety and depression to really control themselves. They won't do things. They won't live a life because they have it. I'm not saying, and listen, I get that it's tough. I have friends that have anxiety. I've dealt with depression. I've been there where I'm not saying I fully understand everything that you're going through, because I think everyone's individual circumstances are unique to themselves. So will I ever truly know what you're going through? No. Just like you'll never truly know what I go through. But we have a lot of commonalities. A lot of people allow their illnesses and their mental health to control and dictate the outcome of what they do, as opposed to taking control of the anxiety and accepting it for what it is and learning to deal with it. There's a balance, because I don't want to, again, here I am trying not to offend anyone because I don't want to be canceled, because that's a trend. But I implore you to go scroll through streamer Twitter. Go through streamer Twitter one day. Just scroll through it. Look at how many people are taking a day off because their anxiety's got the best of them. Just not feeling it today. I'm not saying that no one out there is truly experiencing anxiety, because we've been there. We all need a break sometimes. But I feel like a lot of them are using their anxiety as a scapegoat to just not do something they want to do. Is it anxiety? Is it really anxiety that's holding you back, or is, depression? We all deal with it. Could you imagine? I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't take days off when you're not feeling it. Mental health days are important. Okay? This is not me saying that, but I think there's a difference between every time not dealing with the problem, not accepting that there is a problem, and working towards finding some sort of solution, or maybe something that can help you work through it. But instead, the moment that something happens, your entire life falls apart. And everything in your life you give up on because of whatever reason. You're depressed, you have anxiety, or, something happens, and it just, your whole entire world crumbles down. There's a big difference between taking a day off to prevent burnout, or taking a day off because you're just not mentally there, versus every single time it happens. And we know people that happens to. At some point, you gotta take control of your life. If you're gonna allow anxiety to control you, you're never gonna move forward. If you're gonna allow depression and anxiety and mental health to control your actions, you are not going to move forward. If you need to go get therapy, go get therapy. Go talk to someone. Work through your shit. There's a lot to be anxious about. But it shouldn't prevent you from living the life that you want. I truly believe that. Anxiety, depression, whatever mental health issue you go through should not prevent you from living the life that you want. Yes, it'll hold you back sometimes. You'll have those days. You're going to. Everyone does. You're going to have those days that are worse than others. And those are the days you should take off. Those are the days you need to just kind of like do what you need to do to get yourself better. But there are far, far too many people that are using their mental health to dictate what they do, how they live their life, and it's holding them back from whatever it is that they want to do. I fucking refuse that. I'm like, listen, I have my bad days. There's days where I'm like, I really don't feel like streaming. There's days where I'm like, I really don't feel like doing this. And most of the time I do it anyways. And once I'm in the thick of it, I'm fine. Because I've learned to work through a lot of my own issues. Not everyone does. But that's it for what I have for today. I don't know if that's going to help you out at all. Just be your best self. You need to just be your best self. Do what you can to make yourself better. You're not going to grow if you just allow life to happen around you and you don't take control of something. So do the best you can with what you have. Work on growing every single day. Try to be better than the day you were. Try to be better than you were the day before. That's what I was trying to say. Wasn't coming out properly there, but we got it the second go. Strive to be better. 'Cause I know a lot of us look back, we go, man, 20 years ago. And I can say 20 years ago because I'm fucking older than every one of you. But 20 years ago, if I could just do everything the right way, that I know everything I know now, if I could just go back and just change some things, life would be much better. Right? Like, it would just be so much better if you could just go back. But you can't. You can't. You can't. It doesn't work that way. You can't go back. So instead of waiting for another 10 years to pass and look back at it again and go, man, I wish I would have changed. Fucking start changing now. Do something now. It won't be easy. It's never easy. It's not supposed to be. So if you're looking for, an easy way to get more views, if you're looking for an easier way to get more likes, if you're looking for an easy way to make more money, I think it's OnlyFans. OnlyFans will do that for you. You can do that. But even then, I don't know if it's easy. I wouldn't know if that's easy. I feel like it would be easier. But it's easier for some people, not everyone. For the majority of us, you got to figure out what works for you. You got to learn, you got to grow, you got to become a better person. Perfect your craft, get good at it. If you actually get good at something, guess what? You can teach it out. You can you can do anything you want once you learn how to do something. No one wants to learn anything. Everyone just expects to just go live. I'm gonna become the next influencer. I deserve to be eating for free at Burger King or wherever other restaurant I want to review. I have 500,000 viewers on my stuff. Why don't we eat here for free? No one gives a shit. Build your craft. Get good at it. Then you'll be pretty much unstoppable from there. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for the day. We'll be back tomorrow morning for those that don't follow me on the YouTube, but you follow me on the Twitch. We got a weird ass day tomorrow. Trying to make me laugh. We're gonna wrap it up. So we'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week's going to be our normal schedule. You guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your day. And send all your Island Boys videos to Captain RB. He's in our Discord as well. So he loves them. He appreciates them. He wants all of them. If you have special artwork just for him, send it over to him as well. The Captain RB. That's it. Love you guys. You have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you later. Peace.